Welcome back to Sovereign AI podcast. In this episode, we turn to Germany, one of leading AI spots in Europe. I'm joined by Dr. Stefan Kesselheim, head of STL Applied Machine Learning and AI at Jülich Research Center. Stefan, welcome. To start, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and what Jülich Research Center doing those days?
The Jülich Research Center was a former nuclear research center that reinvented itself 20 years ago. And one of the core facilities is a center for supercomputing. And we're super proud now that we will have we're about to have Europe's first exascale supercomputer. So it's already the fastest supercomputer in Europe. And in the next month, we hope to break the magic number of 10 to the 18. So 1 million floating point operations per second with our supercomputer. My own role is I'm leading a lab on applying machine learning and AI to more or less everything. It all started with the mission of helping scientists to leverage machine learning for their scientific fields, because there's so much potential in machine learning methods for science, and we want to help scientists leverage that. What has come on top goes directly in the direction of sovereign AI, and that was the first thing that brought me in there was a national project. It was called OpenGPT-X. It's now over, but it started 4 years ago. That was about building large language models that are good at German, that are open source and accessible for everybody. That was the time before ChatGPT. That was before the very big part of the hype started. And we learned a lot in this project. And we're super happy that the open source world in large language models is going so fast now. And we're very happy to be a part of that.
Thank you, Stefan. From your perspective, what sovereign AI means and what does it mean for Germany?
I'm trying not to see this from the point of view of a nation or a continent, but I'm trying to see this as a scientist. And what is currently happening is that, in my feeling, mankind is completely changing the way information is processed, or potentially changing it to a fair amount, because especially chatbots, but also other like information processing system based on machine learning, they will change a lot of things. Core technology, and the core of this technology, or many important aspects, are only behind the curtains of companies. And this makes me feel like not very happy, because I want to know in every detail what this technology does, how it works, and I want to be able to take it apart. And I want to be able to explain to my daughter how exactly this works. And I think information has such a big role in democracy. And so we have to make sure we understand what happens to information. This is important for Germany, this is important for Europe, but this is important for anybody, I believe.
It happens in terms of innovation and progress there and in German.
So the Jülich Supercomputing Center has amazing supercomputing infrastructure, or has had amazing computer infrastructure for many decades. And now they are, from society perspective, they have become much more important, because so many people have now access to technology that is leveraged by what supercomputers do. This is different than it's 25 years ago, when it was just a few scientists who needed them. And so the background of Jülich is providing infrastructure so that scientists can do big things. And I think this is super important, because then scientists can really do the things that otherwise only big companies could do, or they can pick up big science project. And I think this is very important. But the other observation is that you can't just put a big computer somewhere and hope it will be used well. The other aspect is we need to understand what the supercomputing technology is good for, how to use it, how to give users shares of the supercomputer, how to decide who can and should use it for what. And I think this is the other important part, that we have research in Jülich, even located at the supercomputing center. We have the researchers that want to use and know how to use this infrastructure. I'm more on the user side, so I have deep respect for my colleagues who know how to build these supercomputers and run them.
And I suppose that there are many companies in Germany that decide to invest in sovereign AI capabilities. What do you see is the main benefit of those companies doing so?
Yeah, sovereign AI. So I see this, I compare this to open source software. There's amazing software products out there, and there's open source software that is in some cases not as amazing, not as out of the box, not as direct to use. On the one hand, if you think in terms of office products that are open source versus office products that are from private companies. So there it's important to consistently believe in the idea that you can build amazing products also with community efforts. And every company that pushes this idea of open source or at least some community efforts is super valuable, I think, for society. But on the other hand, in open source, we also see that the entire internet would not work without having Linux in the backend. So open source is not just like a little bit more clumsy than commercial software, but in some cases, if the strengths are seen, it can be really the backbone of everything. And this is where I hope that we will end with also AI and sovereign AI, that the open components can form like the backbone of the technology. And then you can build very nice products on top of that. But the backbone should be accessible and understandable for everybody.
Germany is known to have a strong industry and world-class research and now an ambition on AI. What do you think is the real bottleneck for Germany in building true national capability?
I wish I could answer the question. I think that's a combination of all of those. Structure, if you don't have it, you can't do things that you could do if it were there. But somebody has to take the money and invest into infrastructure. And somebody has to go first, especially if it's an infrastructure that you only need a few times in a country like Germany, or maybe only once. Just by putting up infrastructure, you cannot solve things, but it's an important ingredient. And talent is not lacking. So we have amazing university system, and we have computer sciences established since many decades in the German education system. And I'm always amazed by talking to masters from computer science or from neighboring science. I'm a physicist myself. Sometimes we learn more about actual computers than our computer science friends. So what is of course, in STEM, in all STEM, the number of people who come with degrees from university could be higher. I think the job market is not saturated. There's more space for talent also to get well-paid jobs, and I would wonder a little bit what to do in order to motivate more young people to take up. There's so many small companies all over Germany that are best in class in some small field. They are good at what they're doing, and just throwing AI at everything is not what will makes their sales go up. But the challenge is more about integrating digitalization into their strategy, machine learning and AI as part of that. So
how can we make sure the skills and experimentation reach the whole population, not just the tech elite?
In Jülich, we have on the one hand the big infrastructure and the European-funded AI factory that produces things on the large scale, but we also have something else. We have one of Germany's AI service centers, and there we try to think small. We try to talk to small companies. We try to help them with concrete problems and maybe carry them over a barrier that they're facing and give them a different perspective, and maybe also provide some perspective on AI and technology that they might not have, just the outer perspective is sometimes really, really helpful. And I think there should be more of that. In some cases, this is risky for us because we are employed with a scientific organization, so we don't have permanent jobs or anything, but my team doesn't have, my teammates don't have permanent jobs. And we spend then a few weeks working with some companies' problems or challenges and learning everything about them. If we could make probably more money and get a more stable position somewhere outside of the academic system, but it's also so rewarding to see what an independent perspective, if you can go there and you can just ask every question you can ask. We don't have to sell anything. We can just be ourselves and also be critical in some cases. And I think these external impulses, they can help a lot. And I hope that our partners are not too confident. I think they are happy with our contributions and they speak very highly of us. Also, developing the chemistry and the trust between the two parties is not always easy. But I think this is a very nice example how things can also work. But this, of course, it doesn't scale. We have to start from the beginning with every partner with whom we talk, and it's a long way, but it's so rewarding, and we should be also, from my perspective, doing more of the small things.
I'm really encouraged to hear that there are models of AI literacy that work. Why do you think the German policy should be focusing on AI literacy?
I'm wearing my science hat again, and my view as a scientist is that the overall AI market is currently really overhyped, and people are following. In my case, sometimes people tend to follow ideas just because they sound plausible, because they have heard it from their friends, from their neighbors. People are not critical enough about certain aspects of technology. This is what needs to be improved. So when I build anything, how do I judge if this is good or this is worth spending any of my time? And starting with this critical thinking, it also helps you, like, taking things slow. I think, like, the calming voices in the AI literacy are super important, and they make decisions also more rational. And I think we should have more of that. And of course, how do you make people more rational? By informing them better, by giving them the right vocabulary to talk about the technology and to talk amongst, like, with their peers and with the experts.
But if you look at measuring progress, when it comes to AI literacy, how do we know that Germany is on track?
I think there's not enough things happening. But on the other hand, things are happening, because every university student will wonder if ChatGPT can or should, or like even the high school students, they wonder if they should do their homework with ChatGPT. If I talk to my mother-in-law about her heating problems and if she should get a new heating system or not, with whom does she talk? She talks to machine learning, like to AI systems. And like these discussions are everywhere. And I think it will take, like, the technology wheel is spinning super fast right now, but also but the society is catching up to that. So many people want to learn. And it gives me confidence that we as society, we will be able to also, like, keep up with the pace and not, like, become blind followers of technology. Everybody knows if I ask ChatGPT for advice, I must question what comes out, because it's just a stupid machine learning model. Yeah. So I think things are going in a good direction everywhere. Maybe this is a different question, but I think that society is reflecting very much the uptake of the technology and is clearly making progress.
The work you're doing at the Institute on democratizing AI becomes so super important. But how do we create that environment to make people feel curious, where people feel confident and creative to use AI, not just query it, but also build something with it?
I think what can be done on the policymaker level is being generous also for experimental projects in AI. Just like distributing public money to people who are maybe also on crazy endeavors, and that to projects that are more open-ended, because this is something that the spearhead will probably still be companies like Google, Amazon, Meta, and so on when it comes to, like, customer products. But thinking this AI broader and giving more space for, like, in the end, it will be innovation if we let people run in different direction. I think this would be nice. Not chasing unicorns and not chasing the biggest and best and most beautiful models. And this is where, like, the state can change its policy.
Lives. I wanted to see, what do you think improving the skills of the German people will mean for their lives, especially in healthcare or daily service?
I think technology in many cases makes our life better in many ways. Transportation becomes more efficient if I have good information systems that I can ask which train to take and when to go. And it will even motivate me to take the train, even though the car might be faster. The better I'm informed, the better decisions I can take. And so I think this is an example where being informed shows that this allows me to be like a better human. I take the train instead of the car, which might be a small step, but it might be a step. And I think that one aspect of the AI, I would almost call it revolution, is that everybody can learn things that were too difficult to learn before. If there's anything that is clear, is that high levels of education correlate with health in life. And I think this is therefore like this source of information can make our life also more healthy, because we take more conscious decisions about food days, about exposure to toxics. I don't know. There's so many things that we can make better decisions when being better informed. And so I'm very positive that on the long run, these AI systems will make us will make our lives happier.
Better humans too. And I think that's if we are that is the hell of a vision. Stefan, thank you for joining me.